Постскриптум, давайте. Мы до сих пор
We're well aware of the corruption scandal in Kyiv. Either they're learning from the Europeans, or the Europeans are learning from the Ukrainian elite. In any case, both are theft. We treat it as such and are preparing countermeasures. But what those measures will be, the government will announce later, if that happens. We're still receiving requests to cease hostilities here and there. Ukrainian troops will withdraw from the territories they occupy. That's when the hostilities will cease. If they don't withdraw, we'll achieve this by force of arms. Those in the West who understand the consequences of this insist on ending hostilities as quickly as possible, even if that requires some concessions from the Kyiv regime. Because they understand that the front will begin to collapse in certain areas, and then the Ukrainian armed forces will lose all combat capability. They will lose their most combat-ready units, as is currently happening in the Krasnoarmysk area. Of course, we ultimately want to reach an agreement with Ukraine, but that's practically impossible right now. Legally, it's impossible. Anyone who can, whoever wants, can negotiate with them. Of course, we ultimately want to reach an agreement with Ukraine, but that's practically impossible right now. Legally, it's impossible. Anyone who can, whoever wants, can negotiate with them. We need our decisions to be internationally recognized by the major international players. That's all. I don't really understand why they call this the G7. They're getting smaller and smaller in terms of numbers, territory, population, and contribution to global GDP. But it doesn't matter. They're still our important partners. Well, in the current situation, I can't quite imagine how we'll interact with them directly. Well, you can imagine it yourself. So, here we go. Hello? Are we just going to glare at each other or what? And suddenly the United States announces sanctions against 2 of our oil companies. What's the reason for this? Honestly, I don't even understand what's going on. So, there's no point in blaming Mr. Steve Witkoff for being overly friendly with his Russian colleagues. Well, we talked, we met. We met, I repeat, in Alaska, and then, while the new relations were in full swing, came sanctions, which are undoubtedly destroying our relations.
Спасибо большое. Постскриптум, давайте. Мы до сих пор
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to Mirror Now.